guys. Yeah. Blah.
What the F? What the F?
Blah.
Come
KG
on.
Day is ruined. KG Day is ruined.
Every time they retire a number, they lose.
We can't have nice things.
No more retiring numbers. No more retiring
Look at
numbers.
Bobby got dressed up for this.
Yeah.
Good game.
Good game.
Really enjoyed it.
We don't have a ton of time. I want to let everybody at home know what's going on. The KG ceremony is going to happen. It's taking a little time to set up. So we got this little post-game window where we're going to wrap with you guys about the game. It might bleed over. The guys at the Garden are going to go take in the ceremony and see what's happening here. Jimmy and I could linger a little bit longer. There's Bobby's being swarmed by fans and interlopers.
Bottle service.
There you go.
Classy. Classy.
They're going to have the music blasting here. I'll do the best I can.
The whole thing's going to be rough, and we recognize with everybody here, it's going to kind of be a weird show because, as we said, we have this small little window here, and then it's going to happen. So let's get through the game, and then we'll talk a little about KG and stuff. Just, guys, walk through here at the ending just how that all went down and just, your reaction to it.
So it's all about the free throws, right? I mean, how did they overturn that call? I have no idea. I thought it would just be kind of a, routine. You have the challenge, just throw it out there and pray for the best. And they overturned it. I didn't see anything there that made me think he didn't foul Smart. But I don't know, John and Jimmy, you might have had a better view back home.
Well,
I got a feeling that. I was just gonna say I have this funny feeling that when they do the 2-minute report, they're gonna call that a foul.
Well, here's the thing.
They're gonna. It's good, and it's to me that's the worst part about this game. It should have come to that. First of all, the Celtics shouldn't have been in a position where they had to basically will their way and try to force overtime. But that was it's clear as day that there was contact. And they're saying that the contact was after the shot was released,
and they're saying that's illegal.
You can say. You could do, but damn near every time a guy gets fouled,
so ridiculous.
He's getting fouled after he releases the
call
shot.
on the floor.
That's what I don't understand. Like, where does this come from?
The call on the floor is foul. That should be very hard to overturn.
Right, and it was pretty immediate.
That should be hard to overturn. I'm not sure the rationale there.
Yeah, I was stunned they turned that over. Smart's going to make the free throws, as Sherrod said. Kind of a little bit of a second-half collapse, especially on the offensive end from this team. Tatum couldn't make a shot. Brown was loose and rough with the ball again, and especially those last two possessions. Ball ends up in Smart's hands, and he doesn't really want it. That heave where he got fouled and the free throw line jumper the play before, and then Tatum turned it over after Rob grabbed that offensive rebound. Not to mention the chance that they had after the jump ball. Tatum was ready to let it fly the second they got in the half court, and Ime called the timeout, and he just let it fly anyway after. Just really hard shot, fade away of the break there. The best you could have gone with that much time on the clock, but again, we've seen Tatum in these situations again and again, and he's just usually launching it.
Well, as we said, one thing I wanted to just talk about long-term implications of whatever it was that happened in this game. Just a look into a window, and again, I'm not saying the Celtics have had it easy, but the Celtics haven't had a team to push back as hard on them defensively as a team like Dallas is equipped to do and did, and it did not go well. We're not saying that this would happen anytime, and you're not going to face a lot of these teams. Obviously, Miami would be a challenge when they're fully healthy, even though the Celtics have played well against them this year. So you wonder where you're going to run into these problems in the Eastern Conference, how many landmines like this there are, but just a window into, what it's like for this team, this Celtics team, the way they've been playing to go against a tough defense and how much they struggled here to get into any sort of flow. It feels like looking in the mirror. You could see the things that the Celtics do well with their length in the passing lanes and really keeping teams from getting into the paint at all and just kind of cycling the ball around and settling for shots that you don't want to take. That's kind of what today felt like, and it was ugly being on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, no, the third quarter especially, I felt like they were starting to stand around a lot. It didn't seem like the offense was flowing much at all. They were missing shots. Tatum went cold. That's unfortunate. I mean, we said it, you can be a strong defensive team all you want, but someone's going to have to score for you. Someone's going to have to take over. He doesn't need to drop 50 to win this game, but he can't go as cold as he did in that second half there. There was really nobody that could take over on the offensive end. Once in a while, Tatum gets to the basket or Brown gets to the basket, but they were sloppy in this game too. Brown had a turnover late in the game there.
And the complaining again, Jimmy. You lose
Lot
by
of
3 in
complaining.
this game, and you had 2 technicals.
Lot of
Inexcusable.
complaining.
The coach, too, picking up a tech. He did that earlier in the year against Denver. Or I don't know who it was against, but in a game earlier this year, that technical at halftime he had in that game ended up costing them in the final score. And again here, they lost their mind, but the officials in the third felt a lot like that Detroit game on Friday.
Sherrod, your thoughts?
I mean, there's a lot of blame to go around here, but when you start looking at when they've had guys in that starting lineup that have struggled, there's been usually a guy or two off the bench who could bail them out. Derrick White, 2 for 10. Grant Williams, 1 for 6. You're not going to win a lot of games when Tatum struggles.
Pritchard passing up open shots.
Well, Pritchard passing up open shots. Marcus Smart passing up open shots in the lane there down the street. Bottom line is they didn't get it done when the opportunity was there, and I put more of it on what they didn't do than what Dallas did, because there were opportunities for them to make plays and find a way to get this tough win, and they just didn't capitalize on it.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Just a couple, and again, we're trying to buzz through some game points here because this is going to be a short-ish show. Your thoughts on the Celtics' choice to double, which isn't a thing that they do often, but did get burned a little bit by it here. Why not kind of just play your defense?
I don't think you can play your defense as you normally do against a guy like Luka. He's that good. You've got to tweak it. I thought they did a little bit too much doubling. I thought they should have did a little bit more blitzing and just kind of showing as opposed to going full-on double. But again, it's hard to argue and knock what Ime's doing because he's done a heck of a job to get them in a position.
I'm not arguing or knocking. It's just, again, you're used to doing a thing, and it just has worked for you, and they got into some trouble here. You don't know if doing the reverse would necessarily have been
It would have
better.
been hard to play him straight up.
I'm just throwing it out there. I understand needing to do that at times, and there are people who you're absolutely going to do that with, Luka being one, KD being another, where you just don't want those guys to torch you. And you look at that Dallas team, I get it too. I know the reason I pointed out is it was in the conversation, whether it's in the chat here or on Twitter. Again, you see something not work, you're going to question it. It's like bringing in your trusted reliever in the 8th and he blows it. And it's like, well, maybe they should have gone to someone else. Obviously it doesn't always work. Just curious if you guys thought that was the right strategy in this game. Obviously you did.
Yeah, I did. And Luka was still efficient. I mean, he had like 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He turned the ball over 5 times, which is not crazy when you consider how much he has the ball in his hand and his usage rate. Yeah. But
it's doubling a guy who's an outstanding passer versus, and again, this isn't turning into a Tatum versus Luka debate, but again, there's a difference when you double people who are, doubling LeBron, doubling.
You saw what happened.
Yeah. There's guys who eat you alive, guys who can't wait for you to do that because they'll eat you alive, versus Tatum, who has learned to react a little bit quicker. But you still saw how frustrated he was by the doubles today and by the length and just, kind of being pushed to the outside and not really being able to get to his spots.
Well, you know what the Celtics basically said? Like, we're not going to let Luka kill us. We're gonna force somebody else in the Mavericks to kill us. And you know what happened? That's exactly what happened. Somebody else in the Mavericks killed him. Finney Smith went off in the second half. And then Dinwiddie also went off, and he hit that basically the game winner, right? That 3-pointer. They double Luka or whoever it is, and then you saw Mavericks whipping the ball around the 3-point line, and Celtics were just chasing. They were just playing catch up, trying to catch up to the ball, and the Mavericks made them. This way, I think you're muted.
Yeah, that's a really good. No, I muted myself because it's getting louder here. But
okay.
No, I just took it off now because Jimmy, that's a really good point, man, because the Celtics put themselves in a space where they had to come up with 3 consecutive stops, and that's really hard to do against this Dallas Mavericks team, especially when they smell blood. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, Finney Smith hits a 3. You're able to string together a couple of stops, but you had to convert those into makes on the other end. I mean, the Marcus Smart thing, that was awful. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, the referees they dropped the ball on that one, but at the same time, the Celtics really put themselves in the corner there when they were forcing themselves to come up with all those stops in such little time. And against someone like Luka, whether it was Luka himself or him finding somebody else, they're going to make you pay. And you didn't capitalize on that turnover. Like, Luka turns the ball over. That was a huge opportunity, I felt like, to carry that momentum over. And the Celtics just didn't do that.
No, I thought Rob did as best he could. I thought Rob played pretty solid defense on Luka too, forcing that turnover. But yeah, they couldn't take advantage of it. Even before, if Marcus Smart didn't get quote unquote fouled on that, that's not a shot you wanted him to take anyways. A 30-foot desperation 3. When you've got guys like Tatum out there.
I said,
Yeah, it was just bad.
At the end of the day, that's what cost them,
Execution down
Jimmy,
the
and that's
stretch.
why it was reversed. That's why it was reversed. The reason it was reversed is no one believed Marcus Smart really was planning on taking that shot, and that was what they wanted in that situation. They knew he was foul hunting there, and they reversed it based off of that. What I'm saying is that was not. I honestly think that worked against him. The idea that Marcus Smart's going to take a 26-footer because that's just what he does, without the idea that he did it with knowing that he was trying to draw contact, I think they just sniffed it out. Like, nope, that wasn't real. You know, you embellished it. You created the contact yourself.
It's the whole what is a catch? It's the same argument we're having now. What is a foul? What is a catch?
I'm just saying his reputation
on the floor is a big deal.
No,
I'm saying his
reputation
worked against him. His reputation worked against him, and just the idea that that's what
Yeah,
that was
you
what
know
the
what?
Celtics
I
were
don't even
trying
know
to
if
do.
that's true. I don't know if that's true. I think you look at the
John, you might
can't argue the
I-
highlight.
Josue, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, John, you bring up a good point because I feel like that reputation sort of continues to follow Marcus, but especially in that moment. Now, if this is the end of the third quarter, he probably gets that. But because it's the end of the fourth, yeah, I'm with you, John. I mean, his reputation doesn't help him, even though he's far removed from being the flopper he used to be, you know, a couple of years ago. But that reputation continues to follow him because he does tend to exaggerate, you know, in that instant. But anybody would do that, you know. But because it's Marcus, he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt all the time.
And it's just because that would never be what the play you would call in that situation. So if Marcus is shooting that, he's shooting it with the idea that he's trying to get a foul, not because he thinks he's going to make that shot. And I just think I think it entered their thinking. That's all.
Probably.
I think Tatum gets it.
It's just that they called a foul on the floor. So I'm kind of stunned.
That's hard
I've
to
never seen
reverse.
anything like that.
Well,
Yeah.
then
Hard to reverse.
If all those things you're saying are true, John, then they wouldn't have called it a foul initially. They would have said, "No, this guy's just trying to create contact. We're going to play on." So what?
I
like,
just think
very
when they
strange
looked at
situation.
I just think when they looked at it, they're like, I think he tried to buy this one,
Here's
and they
what
just
I'll
didn't
say.
give it to him.
This is my last point. I already said it. It's like, what is a catch? What isn't a catch? What is a foul? What isn't? If you make contact on the hand right after the shot, is that a foul or is that not a foul? Because some people are saying it's not. It's called the high five, and it's not a foul. Some people are saying it's contact. Like Sherrod said earlier, majority of these fouls occur after the shot is, released in a lot of these situations.
I think they called didn't it look like they called more of a landing zone foul with the legs kind of making contact there than we saw in the
hand
replay?
hit the hand.
I'm saying I believe the foul call looked like it was in the landing spot with the legs kicking out. And when they looked at the replay, they also happened to notice that there was a nick of the hand, which wasn't the original reason they called the foul. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I read it. At first glance, when you watched it live, were you like, oh my God, his hand got nicked on the follow through? Or did you think he got submarined?
It got nicked.
No, but what did you think when you watched it live?
I thought he got submarine.
I thought it was.
I thought he got undercut.
I thought he
and
got marine.
When that's
So
what they went
on
looking
the floor,
for.
But
yes.
yeah.
I think they went looking for that call, didn't see that happen, thought that Marcus sold it by kicking his legs out scissor style to buy a foul, and then happened to see that there was a little contact at the end, and that's why. Again, I don't know, but that's
the only reason I disagree.
That's how it
because
went through my brain. Yeah.
Luka was saying he hit ball, saying that he was doing this, making it seem like it was ball, but it wasn't ball. He hit his hand. So anyways, I don't even care. It is what it is. It's over. It's a shame that it got to that point. Celtics had this game in control. They were up, 13, 14, or whatever it was, and just an awful execution in the second half. I don't know what the hell Ime said to them at halftime, but, man, it did not.
KG was running the room. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, seriously. Well, we saw the highlights of KG, pre-game, talking to the players, kind of getting them hyped up. It certainly seemed like they came ready to play. I mean, Jaylen Brown.
They were storming, yeah.
It was just hard. It was a hard game.
Right. It was a hard game. And credit to the Mavericks. They're probably the equivalent to the Celtics in the West, the way they've been playing lately. We don't probably hear about them as much, but I mean, Bobby and Josue, you guys, I'm sure, and Sherrod, you guys, and John, I guess, maybe not John, but you guys know enough about what's going on over there, and I'm sure basically what they've been saying about them
their ball
defensively.
movement? Yeah, defensively, they've been great. I didn't know they were moving the ball like that. Some of those 4-pass possessions, swinging the ball all the way to the other side, Dinwiddie hitting those. Great stuff by them. And they hit like 3 threes off those, including the game winner where Luka was really stuck and got the ball out for Dinwiddie again, who was just sensational on those breakout threes. They got going out in transition a little bit more than Boston probably wants to, but they gave them those opportunities with all the turnovers, especially early. The Celtics should have been up like 20-ish points in in that first quarter when they were piling up all those stops. And then the third quarter, they really just got lit up, and that's where this one turned for the worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, Bobby. When we had that brief conversation about Bertan. You're like, man, like I'm surprised this guy gets a whole lot of playing time. I'm like, on this team, if you can shoot at a certain percentage, then you're gonna get a shot out there because
they have
there's so
shooters
many
everywhere.
open looks, man. Exactly, they do such a good job of pushing that ball around. So you're bound to get an open look, and they'll take their chances with someone like Bertan. Obviously, he didn't have a good one tonight. I mean, he did manage to hit one, but like that's the reason why guys like that get on the floor, especially size. Guys that can present mismatch opportunities. Like that's sort of Dallas' MO. But again, you have guys that can swing that ball around, and everyone sort of takes their part in being productive on the opposite end on defense. And I saw a little bit of both of that today, especially when Finney Smith hit that 3-pointer, and then these guys started to buckle down a bit on defense.
Yep.
We do have 10 minutes until the ceremony, in case anyone's curious.
Yeah, well, all right, I'm going to spend a few minutes on one thing here. And again, this person, it's incredible. The best thing that ever happened to Marcus Smart was the Celtics traded for Derrick White. Because now no one is going to have conversations about the little things that Marcus Smart does anymore. We're going to now argue about Derrick White's value and how good a defender is and giving the game what it needs. And we're going to stack him against 2 for 10 and 1 for 8 shooting appearances where he doesn't make any threes and looks friggin' terrible shooting the ball. And this is going to be the debate we're going to have for the next 4 years. So congratulations, Derrick.
Can't wait.
You know why, though, right?
Why?
He makes a little more change. A little bit more. That's why.
It's close. They're both in the 17 million mark.
It's close.
But at the end of the day,
but if Marcus was up here, I think Marcus would still get some of that blame pie a bit. A little
Marcus,
piece.
Hey, Marcus is playing great.
Now, Marcus is in the club. He's in the circle of trust. And now it's this newcomer, Derrick White, which is like, what is going on with this guy? And again, I understand it's going to be polarized. You've got the chat who's like, he's excellent.
He's locked in.
Other people are losing their Derrick White minds right now. But, you're looking at that bench, man. You're going to go 3 deep. And the guy who's clearly the guy you can, Derrick and Grant are the guys you need stuff from, and when you're not getting it, it's very noticeable on nights where starters struggle.
Yeah.
You need a bench lift when the starters.
That's what we've been saying.
You need that bench lift.
Where's the offense coming from?
And who do you close this game with? It's the starters. No one on the bench could break into that closing group.
Well, think about this. They went to Pritchard tonight. Like late in that game, they stuck with Pritchard over
for a while.
Over some other options they could have gone to, including White. So I don't know what that says about where they think White's at right now. But they were looking for anything on offense tonight, and again, it's that second unit that whether it's Grant, Pritchard, White, I mean, somebody's got to get it going if Tatum isn't, dropping 30 plus.
Hey, that White quote still stands. All right. That comment you just put up there, that White quote, he's still a great fit. Don't get us wrong. But because of how thin this team is, because of the second unit is so thin, there's a whole lot of weight on Derrick White to produce offensively when this team comes up short, especially when Jaylen went 6 for 16 today, Jason was a bit off in that second half a bit. So, it's tough. But, yeah, I mean, White's going to be that guy that people point to on nights like this or days like this.
What do you think of White, Sherrod?
I think Derrick this is what you get. I mean, he's going to have nights where he's going to suck shooting the ball. You're just hoping that he can balance that out or overcome that by playing really good defense and making impact plays. He didn't do that tonight. He didn't make impact plays. He couldn't shoot the ball well. I didn't feel his presence or imprint on the game in any positive way at all. And that takes a lot of we typically talk about those type of things with Marcus Smart, obviously not doing that right now. Bottom line is this. They need better, more consistent production out of that bench if they're going to have the kind of season that they seem to be trending towards. He can't have too many games like this.
I was in the Discord during the game because that's where I like to hang out sometimes. And I just said in the Discord, I said, Derrick White needs
Jimmy
to
in the D.
Something like Derrick White needs to stop shooting. Me and Amit are holding it down a little bit earlier today in the Discord. Amit will go off on Derrick White at any moment. But somebody said,
you gotta be better.
Somebody said this. Let me just finish. Somebody said, Derrick White's never been a good shooter. So if you thought he was, like, the joke's on you. And my response is just this. I don't even need him to be a good shooter. I just need him to not be the worst shooter. That's all. Just don't be the worst shooter. Just be average. And I think that would be something.
Well, they've been shooting poorly since the whole shakeup, and it's pretty amazing what they've done offensively without any shooting. They shot 18% on Friday. We didn't even notice that from three.
I
We didn't
know.
even mention that on the air. So they overcome it with other stuff, but there are going to be games where the interior isn't quite there. You're not getting on the break. The other team's not turning the ball over, where you're going to have to hit some shots. And I hate, especially, if you're White being aggressive, firing off those shots, I like that better than Pritchard passing up open looks down the stretch. Fire away.
But
someone's going to shoot it.
You have to look at it. You have to be able to look at it, if you're going to view the Celtics through a particular lens, which is it's defense, and they make you worse and they make you play bad and they're really tough to play against, you have to recognize when someone does it to you. So I don't think the question goes back to, can you write this off as just the Celtics played poorly, or did the Mavericks make them play poorly? And if that's the case, which other teams can make them play poorly like this? Because you're looking up and down, it was pretty much endemic tonight. It wasn't just one person. We're calling out White here, and that's fine. You're only calling out White because the starters also had a rough game, and you were looking for somebody to be the guy to come in and do something different. They couldn't really do it. The bench couldn't really do it either. But top to bottom, outside of Al Horford, nobody had a game that they feel really good about, certainly not offensively.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, they've had a number of guys who have really played significantly better than we thought they would this year. Grant Williams, this first one comes to mind. This was not a good Grant game. He missed a lot. I mean, he was 1 for 6, but man, I would say of those 5 shots he missed, at least 2 or 3 of them were just wide open. You got to make those type of shots, and he didn't. So this was kind of almost like a reality check of sorts for these guys. That you've been playing good basketball, but there's still another level that you got to kick it into, another gear you've got to shift into. And when you don't, this is what happens. You get your ass beat on KG night, which sucks. It sucks so bad.
It does.
I know, a lot of great moments in that first half. We didn't even
get KG here.
That Brown dunk, gotta mention it. Best moment of the
Top
year.
5 play.
I mean, are you
top 5 dunk
me?
of the year. And then getting dapped from KG right after that.
That was the coolest thing I've ever seen watching the Celtics.
I love
was just
that.
Like, wow. What a moment.
That was an unreal dunk. And then just to have KG right there for it, just to give him a little dap after that was pretty sick.
And then you lose the damn game.
That was smooth.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I do want to point out that last game when Bobby and I were talking about Jaylen Brown just needing to be more consistent, the narrative from the apologists was, he's hurt, give him a break, he's working his way back from an ankle. And those same 100, 200 people when he dunked that ball at the same time said, oh, see, he doesn't look hurt. Well, he's one of the other guys. When he doesn't play well, he's hurt. When he friggin' hammers it down, see, he's fine. But that was I'm glad to see it, because I actually thought he was a little grounded recently. Where he's had a couple of moments where he looked like he was trying to get some lift and finish in a way that, like a really savage Jaylen, sort of thing, and he didn't have it. So I was thrilled to see him get up and friggin', put his elbow through the rim on that. That he friggin' killed the guy. So
he's been, yeah, he did. That was murder. But no, he did.
Murder.
He has been. Like, his approach has been to attack the rim, and I love that because he hasn't shot away to those 3-point shots throughout this entire run while Tatum's been going off. So I felt like this one was due, but man, he put that dude down, man.
Oh my goodness, that's as emphatic as we've seen.
Like, KG jumped out of his seat because he was like, that was a reflex. Like, he couldn't help himself.
You go to check it out
for Jaylen to give him the
I'm leaving now. I'll see you guys.
That was good.
All right,
guys are going to
say this real quick.
Bobby, Josue, hang one more minute, okay? And Jimmy and I are going to hold it down while you guys relocate. Just hang one more minute on the show, all right?
Yeah, I want to say this. What we didn't. John left. Okay, that's fine. We can still talk about it because we. So
you could tell.
Josue, we missed you. We missed you in our pregame show. If anybody who didn't get a chance to catch our pregame show, we did a KG pregame show. So if you guys want to check that out, it's up on the YouTube. It was me, Bobby, Nick Gelso. Did about 40 minutes. It was a good time. One of the things we talked about was if Ray Allen was going to be in the building tonight. And sure enough, he strolled in there right before the game. And I think, you guys can tell me, it sounded like he got a lot of applause from the fans there.
Yes, he did. And rightfully so, man. I don't think at the end of the day that these fans still have, angst towards Ray. It was mostly about the way Pierce and Garnett were towards him. And I think the last few years have been huge in the sense of mending that relationship. I mean, Paul Pierce started it when they had that event out in China, and it sort of just snowballed from there. Docs have been encouraging to mend that relationship between KG and Ray. And for Ray to pull up here, I think it's the biggest testament of him saying, like, look, things are, we buried the hatchet. We may not have to go public with it, but I'm sure KG and Ray had a personal conversation, whether it's at All-Star Weekend or at some point in the near future, or at some time during the past few weeks or past month or so. I'm sure they hashed it out and had that one-on-one that we just don't know about. But it seems like they're on very good terms, obviously, for him to be here.
Let me just say before we get out of here, sit down and enjoy yourself, because this is going to be a long ceremony. There are a lot of chairs on the floor.
Yeah, a lot of stories
starting
to tell. A lot of things to go through, man. This is going to be a good one, guys.
Yeah.
Some people are asking where to watch it. I know it's on NBC Boston, but I also heard it's going to be on NBA TV. So if you have either of those channels, you should be able to catch it there.
Yep.
Or you can just get creative and figure out a way to watch it. But
we'll have clips on.
Yeah,
Celtics
John, we were.
too.
Yo, and by the way, Bobby and Josue and Sherrod are all there. We're going to be grabbing a ton of footage from this ceremony to be posted. I imagine tonight or at some point, throughout the week. Like I said, we have a pregame video that's up that you guys can catch. It talks a lot about KG, very centric KG video, and we'll see what happens in the ceremony here. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. I have a little bit of FOMO. I'll be honest that I'm not there, but you guys will have to hold it down for me.
We got you, Jimmy. One of the originals over here. CLNS reported. We got you.
That's right. But
We lost
John, your mic is.
Oh, we lost John's mic. Oh,
he
realizes it now. Yeah, you got to plug it in. That's important. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
we're gonna start making our way down there.
Yeah, Bobby's getting anxious, guys. We gotta go.
Yeah, don't want to miss anything. I mean, taking a look right now, you guys still have some time.
I'm good, but Bobby's getting anxious.
Yeah, they got about half the seats, or maybe 3/4 of the seats.
Hey, you know how long it takes? You know how long it takes to get downstairs, Jimmy?
That's a good call. I'm about to hit the elevator for us right now. Yeah.
Yeah, you should go do that.
Go hit that button, Josue.
I got you. Hey, we'll circle back. See you guys.
All right, see you.
Yeah, and there's still a ways to go because a lot of those.
Yeah.
Hear me now, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I got you. I want John to get on.
So the current Celtics players are coming out. I see Al Horford
current
sitting
players
up there.
The current players are coming out, so there's still a little bit before this thing starts.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Jimmy and I will hold it down until it starts. Josue, if you want to relocate somewhere where you can catch it a little bit better, go do your thing.
All right, man.
Isaiah Thomas is in the building. Not
I
IT
saw that.
Isaiah
the
Thomas,
other Isaiah.
Pistons Isaiah Thomas. I guess him and KD have a pretty strong relationship, so that's cool. Derrick
Yeah,
White shown on TV filing in now.
So we've talked about this,
Heist.
Jimmy, and again, every fan from every generation has
sports side, yeah.
Every fan from every generation has their guys, and their whatever. This is your guys here,
Totally.
Jimmy. This is more you. And again, depending on where you came from, there's one thing that was your everything. And obviously, the longer you've been around, the more options you have at it. So, what I'll say, and what's been talked about a bit by some, some of the boomers or some of the people who are around pre-KG, who is and I saw a couple people write about it and talk about it as well. And the thing that I wanted to talk about in this case is it's really all about bringing back the Celtics pride. Totally. As you, Jimmy, probably, and other people, who are, 2008, this is really their first experience. And let's even say Pierce and Antoine and those guys, in the early 2000s, you hear about what the Celtics are about, but you have to believe it without really knowing it, right. Like it's okay. Like if you were a Yankees fan in the 80s, you'd be like, wait, I thought this was like the best team ever. They sucked, and you don't get it until like Jeter and those guys come back and do it. And this is what 2008 and KG and those guys did is this completely brought it back in a way that like I didn't know if it was ever going to come back,
totally
with what they went through post Big Three era. Those were some really, really, really dark times. And it starts with Paul, who comes in here, Antoine really, and then Antoine and Paul, and it brings them back to respectability. And then that still wasn't enough. It was, and I go back to here, and I know
that's where I got hooked, though. That's when I
Yes.
became a Celtics fan with those
bingo.
years.
And like that still wasn't enough. That gave you entertainment and it brought it back. And you had a couple players, Antoine in particular, who loved playing here. But whatever it meant or whatever you thought Celtics basketball was supposed to mean, it didn't come back until Kevin Garnett put on a uniform. And he completely, single-handedly, in my opinion, changed and not just mine, and many people's, changed it. He's not the only important player on that team. You can argue who was more important, Pierce or whatever. Garnett brought it back and gave everybody who didn't have a chance to experience this idea of Celtics pride, what Celtics pride is about, without ever having played a second here, without knowing a freaking thing about the organization, without wanting to come here at all. And he came here and turned it like that. And it's one of the most miraculous things I've ever seen, because now that's what most people know, like the heart of the Celtics is supposed to be, because the other stuff is just getting further and further and further removed, where this is really the only thing that's happened to anybody in the last 40 years. It's the 35 years, 40 years is this. So the Celtics really, in most people's minds who watch this team actively now, are about this 2008 team and what Kevin Garnett kind of brought here.
1000%. I mean, you got the blueprint for what, Celtic basketball looks like. If you're in your 30s or a little bit younger, a little bit older, that's kind of how you I guess identify the Celtics as being. And it's Kevin Garnett. And Kevin Garnett didn't just flip a switch when he came to Boston. I mean, he was an intense player in high school. He brought it to Minnesota and he turned that franchise around. And obviously they didn't get to where they wanted to go, but I think he could have probably went to any team and really flipped the entire city and turned them into a city that's just crazy for a Kevin Garnett-led team. Now, Boston was lucky. I don't think Celtics fans knew just how, much this guy was going to mean to the city, the organization. We all knew that he was an extremely talented player, but I don't think we knew that he was going to have the effect that he did. And I know there's some people that were against the trade when it happened because of how much they gave up, and Al Jefferson was going to be, the next big thing, and all the picks and everything like that. But it's crazy to think.
Sorry,
about it.
Baby just walked on, and oh my god.
Oh yeah, I got it on the corner. Baby, he was having a great time pregame. Baby, he's like,
go ahead, yeah.
Interviews.
Go on, Jimmy.
No, I mean I'm just explaining pretty much following up what you said about Kevin Garnett's importance, but that made it fun. And if you were a Celtics fan, you had watched the Patriots win multiple Super Bowls. You had watched the Reds win multiple World Series. The Bruins hadn't won yet, but you were kind of like the ugly stepchild. The Celtics that weren't winning. They were distant fourth, I think, in the popularity. True Celtics fans, you didn't care about that stuff, but you wanted to see them win. So you didn't have a taste of it. You had the 2001 run that was a lot of fun, but like you said, they came up short. They had no chance beating that Nets team. So this comes out of nowhere. You get these all-star players, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, and then all of a sudden other players want to actually play here. You got a swagger, you got this attitude, and you're all of a sudden like the team that everyone wants to be, or the team that everyone wants to beat. And that was just a fun season. It's a shame they couldn't win a couple more, but it's no fault of Kevin Garnett, that's for sure. I mean, the injuries caught up.
It's the biggest bummer.
Luck. It is.
You talk about like things you wish you could have back. Like how many things, if you could reverse them right now, would you do it in Boston sports? And very, 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 very high up there is Kevin Garnett's knee injury there, because that 2009, as good as 2008 was, that 2009 team was like 25% better. Yeah. They were an absolute wagon. That team was headed for friggin' 68 wins. Like they were.
Yeah,
hooking.
It's like when Brady went down with his ACL. It's like the same thing after the 18 in 1 year. It's like they got robbed of another chance to just go back to, back to the Super Bowl or whatever. But,
unreal that team was. I mean, they had just run that stretch that they were on, and when that happened, I just remember just stopping in my tracks, like, no, no,
that sucked.
No.
Really
so
injuries have not been kind to the Celtics over the last 10, 15
They're
years.
counting down now with a countdown to KG. So we'll let you guys kind of boogie. I did want to say a couple things before we go, but again, this was a great thing what Kevin Garnett did, and it's a shame because I mean, Garnett at 50%, probably should have won another title here. If Perk doesn't get banged up here a couple years later, but they should have run it for 3 straight.
Right. He's walking down the tunnel now. That's pretty cool.
And that would have been something.
That aside, though, that he's had in the organization, taking them out of like loserville and into a winning culture. That's why it's so important that Celtics need to find a way to get this guy in the TD Garden more often, get him in the city, give him a check and tell him, write your amount. What's it going to take to get you into the Garden, get you in Boston, get you involved in the organization?
It's going to take a GoFundMe.
They need it. It's going to take a GoFundMe for Wick because Wick doesn't want to open up the wallet. But honestly, it's extremely important because a lot of the legends that these guys, Pierce Garnett and those guys saw walking the halls, who's it going to be for Tatum and Brown? Who's it going to be for these? It's got to be guys like Garnett. It's got to be guys like Pierce. It's got to be a guy like Ray Allen if he's now welcomed back into, as I think he should have been. I don't know if they're going to be those players, but the Celtics organization needs to find ways to get guys.
It's strange though, right? It's strange. It's not. I don't know why a team that the best selling point it has is its history. Right. Doesn't do this.
Do a little bit more.
A little bit more here, especially with these guys. And some of it is just, these guys are all over the place in different parts of the country doing their own thing. Yeah. KG's kind of got his own thing going on. Ray is obviously he's been a weird one. I don't know what's going on with Rondo. Did Rondo say if Ray's coming up? I mean, I know he's playing, but I haven't seen him really pop up too much here. Real quick before we wrap it, I want to let people know again about our sponsor, Coda. It's a project management tool for teams here. You can do a ton with it. And the best part about it, not the best part, but a part about it is it's also free, which is a very cool thing. All you have to do is head over to Coda.io, get started for free. It's Coda.io/garden, I should say. And what do you get out of this? Teams working all across the country. If everything's spread out, documents, spreadsheets, all of these workflow tools, you get Coda and it brings it all together. It's customizable. It's connected. There's templates for anything and everything. Product roadmap, remote onboarding, meeting notes, whatever you have it. Coda has all of these things. So it's like I said, there's a template for literally everything that you would need. It's a one-stop shopping tool. It's terrific. If you're managing a team or you have a small business and you're trying to keep everything organized, check out Coda if you want to sync everything up. Once again, Coda.io. Get started for free. Coda.io/garden. Get started for free. They just want you to check it out. Again, you support the show, support our sponsors, pop over here and check it out. And that's that. Mike Gorman is on the mic. He is speaking. He's starting his ceremony. We're going to let you guys watch it. We may or may not pop back out after if there's anything worth talking about. Otherwise, just make sure to check out our Celtics YouTube pages for all of the
we're gonna have some content coming out of this for sure. So
post-game materials,
stuff that you won't be seeing on this broadcast. We'll have for you guys. So definitely pop on over to the YouTube and check all that stuff out. Yeah, Mike Gorman's up on the podium. Kevin Garnett just walked out into the middle of the court. That was kind of like a goosebump type moment. I'm sure for everybody there.
Yeah, enjoy it, guys. This is fun stuff. It's nice to celebrate. And again, this was
hop on the Discord actually for this.
This was an Discord. Yeah, hang it. Hop on Discord. We can watch this thing together. Jimmy and I are going to go check it out. As we said, Bobby, Josue, Sherrod, they're all down there. They're checking it out as well. Nick Gelso is in the stands. We've got basically everybody. Everybody's there except for me and Jimmy. That's
I don't know how that happened, but
I could have made it happen for you, Jimmy.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I was never going, but you guys, I could have had you go too. So again, thank you guys for hanging out. I know it's a Sunday. I know some of you guys want to head over. And watch. So do it.
All right. See you guys.